Hi everyone, this is Clara with Card Stamping with Clara. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm back to show you another card that I have made, as well as some others that we won't go into detail with each of those, but I'll give you a little bit of an idea. If you would please push that subscribe button. That way you can get my videos and it helps me too. So I also have a host code. It'll be good for, I guess, this video, and then it'll be changing. But if you should need some merchandise, and if your order is under $150 or up to $150, use the host code. But if it's, let me back up. If it's $150, don't use the host code, because you can get some free product, and I wouldn't want you to miss out on that. So let's look at these cards, and then we'll get to making one. This is the card we're going to be making tonight. It just says Merry Christmas on it. It's a simple card, but that's what I had committed to do for you folks for a few times, and kind of help some of you get started. This one on the inside says Sending Love and Peace this season. And this is the card we're going to make, and then we'll talk some more about the paper and what have you. I made this card from the same set, and I might add that the paper on that one, the designer series paper and this designer series paper, is some paper that you can get for free once celebration starts. If you purchase $50, you can get a pack of this paper, and you make lots of pretty cards out of it. So I tried to use a lot of the paper out of this pack, and you know, show you how to make cards without spending too much money. So this pretty little red ribbon, the red ribbon is from I just realized I called it a ribbon instead of a bow. Sorry. But this little bow is made out of real red ribbon, and that's going to be in the new mini catalog too. And this design here, the cutout and what have you, is from the Sparkle of the Season set. And let's see, it's called the Seasonal Swirl Dies. I knew that I would forget that, so I laid it over. But that's one of the cards that I made, and I used the same sentiment in all of these because I like that one more than the others, to be perfectly honest. This is one that is done in the Night of Navy, and it's got some of that same designer series paper on it. Made a little Rudolph there, and like I said, it's got the same sentiment on the inside. This shape is from one of the seasonal dies, the new seasonal dies that'll be coming out in August as well. So it kind of gives you an idea of what's going to be becoming available before too long. This one, I decided that I wanted a little bit of silver, and I really like this paper that I purchased, the Peaceful Place 12" by 12" paper that goes with another set. But I just thought it was so pretty, the snow and what have you, that I wanted to use some of this. And this is just the Layering Circles die. And as you can see, the same little deer is there and the same sentiment. This is basic gray that I put a border around it with. So silver foil and the coordinating paper is the basic gray. Okay, this one, I did what is called first, second degree stamping, I think. It's, or generation stamping, I believe is the way they say it. It's where you put the ink on your stamp and you stamp it, and then you go ahead and stamp it again, and then you can stamp it a third time. And it gives the card the illusion that these pines or these spruce trees are in the far way back somewhere. So it gives you some dimension to your card. This one is two of the little stamps that I'm going to show you in a minute out of the same set. And I just colored those, put a little snow on them with a little ink pen, and just put a simple Merry Christmas on it with that Merry Christmas is in this same set. And you have a card that looks very different than the others. This one is the same concept, except in this one, if you notice, there's kind of a pinkish color in the back, and that was done by sponging. And then I used the tree stamp again, and I also made it look like a snowbank. And this is from the So Sweetly die set, Stitch So Sweetly, I believe it's called. Then I put some of those little pastel gems on it, and the same on the inside, and this is Shaded Spruce for the green. Okay, this is a another card, very simple. This row I call the simple cards. This shape of the label is from the seasonal label dies again. They're coming out, like I said, in August the 3rd. So what I did was I embossed Merry Christmas on this tag, which is Cherry Cobbler. Then I put some gold foil in behind, and one of these days I'll show you how to split it down the middle and be able to make a border around your label. But this is some of that real pretty paper that you can earn. You know, you get free with a $50 purchase, the same pack. This is in that pack as well. And so is this paper. And the little set that I'm going to show you, it's got this little rabbit in it, which I liked. And this, in order to dress up this label, this seasonal label die, even though it's got pretty scallops on it, it looked kind of large to me for the label that I was going to use, but I wanted something to offset all of this busy color. And I used the little sequins that comes with the, that you can purchase as part of the, it's called Subtle Shimmer Sequins, and it's part of that Peaceful Place bundle, but you can purchase these separately too, and it kind of fills in some space and what have you. This is real red cardstock underneath again. And the last one, it just doesn't get more simple than this card to make. It's unbelievable, and I actually thought it turned out pretty good. This paper is part of the Peaceful Place paper. So I basically used two different sets of paper. This one you can purchase. All these others are part of that free pack, but this is a pack that you would have to purchase. But it's got a couple of sheets of this with these pretty trees and the pretty, looks like silver snowflakes in behind. But then it has this white border down at the bottom, and you can actually stamp on it. This feels like foil. This feels like regular cardstock, which is kind of amazing to me. So I just decided, you know, two little bunnies would be just right for this story scene. So that's what I decided to do. I used this Merry Christmas sentiment again, and put a little tree on the inside of this one, or, you know, whatever you want to kind of dress up the inside. Okay, that's kind of a mouthful of descriptions of those different cards that I've been working on this week. And this is the set that I have taken almost all of these cards from. There's the little deer here that says, "Oh, what fun." There's the little, what I think is a female deer that looks like she's resting peacefully, and you can make a Rudolph out of this one, or this one could be a female deer. And then you've got one that's jumping again. You got all these little trees, and the different sentiments here that I did not use. One says, "Wishing you a wonderful year and friendships dear." Then this one says, "The best time of the year from all of us. Merry Christmas and let's celebrate." So this is a photopolymer set that will be available August the 3rd. And it comes, you can get it as a bundle with this punch. And I will show you how to use this punch if you've not used punches before. And we will get started here making this card that I have for tonight. Let's move it over here so you can see it as I put it together. I've got a piece of trash of something here. We're going to use this Early Espresso ink pad, and we're going to use some soft suede, and I'm going to show you how to punch this out before I've already got different pieces prepared, but I want to show you how to use the punch. So we're going to do this first, and I'm just using a block stamper. A block stamp. A block to stamp with, I guess. I'm not saying it very well, but you get the idea. Okay, and I'm going to put this deer down here in this corner. All right, so this is the little deer, and you will see tonight that we're going to make it into a Rudolph here when it's finished. This is my favorite thing, but it looks terrible. It's called a simple chamois, and if you've never used one, they're wonderful. They look terrible after about 2 times you using them, but they will clean your stamp amazingly, and even though they're stained, you got to rinse them out, but even though it's stained, it won't hurt your stamp a bit. So I wanted you to be able to see this, because when I was stamping some of those little trees, I noticed that it had a little groove in it, and it looked terrible, and I thought, what happened here? And I realized that I had a piece of fuzz or lint on my stamp, and that's what had caused the problem, wherein if you use this simple chamois, it will clean all that off for you. So, all right, here's the stamp deer, and what you do is you turn your Mercy, got my tongue tangled again tonight. You turn your punch over so you can see how to line this up. So this is what I'm doing now, is I'm going to have to get it, I'll have to hold it back towards me a little bit so that you can see what so I can see what I'm doing, and then you can see how this is done. Let me see if I got this lined up, maybe. Well, not satisfied with it yet. It's usually not this hard, it's just me tonight. Okay. All right, when you get it where you want it and you've kind of pressed just a little bit on it to hold it in place, you can just pop it like that. And here is your deer. And if you want these same kind of colored antlers, you can use those too, but I'm not going to use those tonight. I'm going to use some darker ones. It will also cut out a nose for Rudolph. You can take a little scrap of red, like, I maybe got one here, but I've cut out several. But all you have to do with a little piece like this is just stick it in there, pop, and locate that little tiny piece, which you may not be able to see over here. Let me see. There, that you should be able to see that. But that's the way the punch works. Really easy. You can punch a lot out at a time if you need to. And so we're working tonight with a stamp set and a punch. It's another way of getting started on a budget. And like I've said before, I put my things in I punched some extra noses just to be sure that I didn't lose the one that I had and couldn't proceed. Okay. These are the little antlers that we're going to use. This is the deer. I always start with a card base. If you haven't made cards before, I'm going to put a video up tonight showing how to score your paper and how to cut 2 card bases from 1 sheet of cardstock. Just go to underneath tools and you'll find it. So that might be helpful to some of you that have not stamped before. I'm going to turn this in the horizontal orientation tonight, and I already put together the Real Red and the inside sentiment, but we'll talk about that a little bit more when I get to that part. Well, my glue is taking legs here to walk. All right, we have a piece here that is about 2 1/4, 2 3/8 to go on the back of your envelope. You'll need to measure that to be sure that it's wide enough for the envelope that you're using, and it's 6 inches long. So that'll be the last thing we'll do. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to take a piece of Real Red cardstock. It is cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4. I have 2 of these, one for the inside and one for the outside, and that's this inside sheet is also the same dimensions of 4 by 5 1/4. This piece of DSP, Designer Series paper, is cut to 3 3/4 by 5. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to glue this to the border piece. And I'm going to lay that over there. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue around the edges because I found out if you put it all over it, the cards can become, it feels like it's thick. It's just not very pliable, and this will keep your piece of DSP just fine. You don't have to have all that glue. Just a little bit in the right place will do a good job. All right, now then, I'm laying the DSP onto what I call the border piece, and just lay it down easy to start with, and by using the glue, the multi-purpose glue, you can move it around just a little bit if you don't press down too much, and get everything lined up evenly, and then just press it down. Okay, now then, we're going to put this panel on the front of it. And what I did was I cut a piece of crumb cake. I'm sorry. Crumb cake cardstock. The color is crumb cake. And I stamped it in the Early Espresso ink, just like I used for the deer. So this piece is 2 5/8 by 3 3/4. You can see I stamped it on both sides. I started on this side and I got a little edge mark there, and I didn't like that. So you can always turn them over and you can stamp again on the opposite side when you need to. The paper's thick enough it won't show through. This is another piece of Real Red cardstock. This one is 2 7/8 by 3 3/4. And these little pieces that are different from time to time, I have a little cheat tape there because sometimes I have senior moments that my brain is sitting there going, duh, duh, duh. If you're a little older, I think you will appreciate what I'm talking about. And if you're young, bless your heart, you're going to get there someday. Okay, let's put a little glue on this one. Okay. And I did not make a border at the top, and I'll show you why. I just fixed it where it had a border on the right and the left side. Okay. I'm going to press that down, smooth it up a bit. Now then, the reason I did not put a border on it is when you lay it down like that, you've got the red border going around on each end. So you just don't need it. This is the way you can dress up a card without spending a whole lot of money by putting these little borders underneath. It really makes a difference in the way your card looks. It just sets it off. So now then, what you do is you line it up and hope that you get it about equal from side to side. I think that's pretty good. And then you can press it down. Now be mindful that if you are going to put it together this way, your measurements need to be precise. What you can do, if you're a little uncomfortable with that, is you can put this on the DSP first, and if there's any discrepancy, you could trim a little edge to make it come out exactly right. But either way, you know, that you prefer is fine. All right. Now then, we're going to put the deer on, and my upline told us you really need a pair of these reverse tweezers. You can just, you know, you squeeze it and you can hold a piece like that. And Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell these. Amazon does. Not supposed to be promoting another product that Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell, but you need to know there's 2 or 3 things, and I'm just going to tell you now. The tweezers is one that I would not be without. Another one is called a glue eraser, and that's what it looks like. And the other one is a little mono eraser, and some of them have 2 different, yeah, this one does. It's got 2 different textures that it will erase with. And the reason I tell you about this is if you get a tiny little smudge of glue, well, not glue, but ink on your paper somewhere, sometimes this can save your card. It won't bring off a whole lot. I don't want you to think that it's going to erase, you know, a lot of ink. But if there's just a tiny little light smudge, you can get it with this. And if you have any glue that kind of oozes out around an edge until you get really good at making cards, then this will clean up the edges. It's wonderful. I wouldn't be without these items and make cards. I just wouldn't. It has saved me more times than I can count. Okay, now that I have put a plug in for these things that Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell, we will proceed. We'll put a little tiny bit of glue on the back of this little deer. And as you will see, I'm trying, and the key word being trying, just to put a little bit here and there. It won't take much to hold it, but if you put a big blob out here, you're going to have a mess on your card because it will gush out, and you just don't want that. Now, I'm going to turn this over, and I'm just going to position him something like this. Try to put it between, you know, kind of centered between the panel, and this needs to go down towards the bottom. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, and this is especially helpful with little pieces. I'm going to turn this so I can see how I want to make those antlers look. Let me see, yeah. It's always a good idea to lay it down first. And I'm sure hoping that you can see that. Okay. I'm going to pick that up with these little tweezers and then just dot it there again. Well, this has got a little bit of fuzz or something that's picked up. You don't want much on these either, just enough to hold them. And then I'd put one, and you know, glue it right up next to the head of the deer. Okay. And we'll do the same with this one. I'm getting a little bit more here than maybe I'd like for it to be. So this is what I'll do in a case like this. I'll take a little scrap of paper that I've been using for something else, and I'll just dab it, and that will take some of that glue off. I might even taken off too much there. And it spreads it out too, so that's a little trick to, if you think you got too much and you think, well, what am I going to do now? So, okay. That's being a little bit of an issue, but not bad. All right, look how those antlers make that, how much that changes the appearance of the deer. And I'm going to take one of these tiny little things. I started because I fell in love with a little punch that made owls. And I had eyes and things to put in, and I thought, I mean, it was a nightmare trying to get these little pieces put where they needed to be, because I didn't know that I needed this. And so I try to be mindful and tell folks, look, you know, this makes stamping fun versus miserable. I mean, it's just that simple. So, okay. Now, you see how easy that was to get on there? And if you don't have this tool, I'm telling you, it's not fun. It's just not fun. Now then, this little piece, I stamped the Merry Christmas, and the white piece is 3/8 of an inch wide, and it's 2 5/8 inches long. The red piece, the real red piece, is 5/8 inches wide and 2 5/8 inches long. And the reason it's not a problem to cut the red piece, but you may want to stamp that and then use your stamping trimmer to cut out a piece like this, because it just makes it easier than, you know, where you can see where you're cutting. If you can cut with scissors and you can get it straight, you know, great. But, you know, that's sometimes where the thing like the Stamparatus really comes in handy, is to do something like that and get it straight and get it the right size. Not totally necessary, but it's very helpful. So now what we're going to do is put this piece, leaving a little border at the top, trying to make sure Merry Christmas is straight. I hope it is. Maybe it needs to come down a little bit on this side, I believe. Just, you have to be careful, or you got to go up or you got to come down, one of the two, because once that glue adheres, there, I think that's fine. Okay. Now, we're going to put this onto the card front, and the card base front, and our front is made, and it's really not too bad. I mean, I think that the fact that we are using so few supplies. I mean, this one doesn't have any special dies. It does have, of course, the punch. You got to have something to cut the deer out. However, I did cut one out. I did fussy cut one, and it came out pretty good. I don't think I made a card with that one, because I thought that stamping it onto the card base made it look prettier than, or not the card base, to the top layer, which was a white. I thought stamping it looked better than gluing on the deer. Okay. I do believe that is, as they say, pretty good. Okay. Now then, let's finish the inside here. And if you can stamp anything, you can stamp the inside, and you know, it's not a big deal. I think I'm probably going to try to do a Stamparatus video too to show you the benefit of that. But as you saw tonight, I used a block. You do not have to have all the bells and whistles to start with, and it really, they're very beneficial. Don't get me wrong. I love my Stamparatus, and I love my Stampin' Trimmer, and I think that I probably like it most because I can score it so easily with it. I can score the card bases. Guess I better clarify what I'm talking about. All right, there's the front saying Merry Christmas, and the inside sending love and peace this season. This is a little stamp in the set that I thought would just make a little, it's got a little bow on it, and it just adds a little something there to the corner of the card. All right, lay this over. Pick up the extra noses of Rudolph, and we'll use it another day. All right, one last thing here is going to be fixing the envelope. Oh, I thought that my silicone pad, I think I looked everywhere for it last time and had mislaid it, but this is a little silicone pad that it just keeps the glue, not the glue, but the tape from getting everywhere. I'm going to use this little tape runner, and you can get a tape runner from Stampin' Up. And I tried to get really close to the fold of the envelope flap without getting on the front. And then I'm going to make one swipe down through the middle and one near the edge. And then we'll go this way on the sides just to make sure everything seals down good. All right. All right, the silicone mat is good for that. I'm going to take a piece of this striped to match the card. And lay it right on top of the flap. And I hope I didn't let it slip. I believe that's okay. All right. I'm going to press it down. So I put the glue, or not the glue, the tape on the outside of the flap. And that just makes it easier about laying down that decorative piece. And then you can take a pair of the snips. Another item that Stampin' Up sells if you don't have a little pair of snips. That's what they call them. And then just trim the edge. And it looks like it's all one piece. That I know the first time I saw one of these, I kept looking at it and I kept thinking, well, how did she get that on there? It looks so perfect. So if you cut it carefully and you line it up carefully, it looks really nice, as you can see. Now, people will be looking at it saying, how'd she get that on there? So there you go. A nice envelope. Picked up something, but it's going to fall off. And that is our video for tonight. So with the decorated envelope and our card, and of course this is the one that we made. So it's another low cost card for you know, there's no gems on this one. We actually cut the nose out of cardstock. I have put a little gem on for his nose on some of them. I think the dark antlers make it stand out more. Now, I did stamp this Merry Christmas in red, but if you don't have the red ink pad and you've got to have the early espresso for the deer, then conceivably you could get by with stamping Merry Christmas and the stamp in the sentiment on the inside in the early espresso. I think that would be very acceptable. So, you know, it's up to you. I'm just trying to be mindful of people that are on a budget. And, you know, we've had COVID for a year and a half, I guess, now. And hopefully that's starting to subside. And I just want to do what I can to help. So, there again, you can check out my website at Card Stamping with Clara. Please press the subscribe button like I asked a few minutes ago. I really appreciate that. If you need a product, I'd appreciate your business. Like I said, I've got a host code for you to use. And by all means, you know, take a look and see what's there. And these sets will be available. The Peaceful Deer bundle will be available August the 3rd for sale. So, y'all have a good evening, and I will be back real soon. Thank you.